sick. I got bronchitis over the weekend and my tonsils are really sore and huge actually. So that's why I'm talking a little bit weird, and just bear with me. Thank you. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Armani Paradise, and this is my new fitness channel where we talk about health and fitness and whatever else comes to mind. So today I want to talk about macros. Basically, what we're gonna get into later in this video is we're gonna break down how many grams of fat you should be eating, how many grams of protein, and how many grams of carbs that you should be eating for your diet if you want to lose weight. Now, a really big thing for this to note is every time that you want to change your diet or anything about what you're eating, you really want to make sure that you're talking to a nutritionist or a doctor about how many calories you need and if the diet that you're on is healthy for you. Because what we're trying to do here is make a life-lasting change into your diet and life, and not just this one-time change. You're gonna lose the weight and then gain it back later. In general, when you count your macros and you're trying to lose weight, this is when you're gonna get your most optimal results. On top of that, you cannot just count your macros and eat whatever you want. You have to eat healthy macros. What you're putting into your body has to be natural, unprocessed foods, otherwise your body's just not gonna be able to work with that. Also, I've noticed that when you make your own food, you are able to know exactly what goes into it, right? So when you get food that's made somewhere else and it's made in a kitchen where you don't know what ingredients they're putting into it, you don't know the butter and the salt and seasonings that they're putting on it, right? So if you don't really make your food at home, how are you supposed to know exactly what's going into it? Now, it's okay to go out and eat out when you want to, right? Don't just never eat out, but at the same time, with macros, if you're trying to lose weight, the best way to do it is just to steer clear of the fast food and the processed foods and things like that. I would say dairy would be the one thing where it's really just up to you. If you're lactose intolerant, obviously you don't need dairy, but cottage cheese, Greek yogurts, healthy cheeses and dairy, stuff like that, it's really good to put into your diet if you can. Tailor your diet to you. Don't take any one person's information and think, oh, that's gonna work for me because it worked for them. That's not how it works. You need to really test some things out, test how your body feels at a specific time with how many calories you're eating. If you don't feel good enough, if you're not feeling like your workouts are the best when you're eating less, up the calories. You're the only person that's really gonna know your body the best. Without further ado, we're gonna talk about macros, and let's go. Okay, so now let's get into the bulk of how you calculate your macros, okay? With this number, after your fat loss, after your caloric deficit, you're gonna have 1,300 calories, and you are going to break this down into 3 parts, okay? So for protein, you're gonna have 0.6 grams per pound of body weight. So let's say I weigh 120, I'm going to have 120 grams of protein. And then we're gonna times that by 4 because there's 4 calories per gram of protein. And you multiply that by 4 and you get 480 calories of protein. So that's how many calories in protein that I'm gonna need to be eating. Next, we have fats, okay? So for fats, we're gonna wanna stay in this 0.25 grams range to 0.45 grams range. This is where we wanna stay for basic fat loss regimen. Other people talk about keto. Keto would be, in this sense, way more fat and protein and absolutely no carbs. So you would just macro your food out between here and then probably less than a few grams of carbs, right? So with our fats here, we're then going to multiply. I've used 0.30 grams as a medium, and we're gonna multiply that by the calories that we're gonna wanna be eating, okay? And we're gonna get 390 calories. So that's how many calories of fat we're gonna be eating. And then you can divide that by 9 because there's 9 grams of fat per calorie, and you get 43.3 grams of fat. Last, all of the rest that's left is going to be put into carbs, okay? So what we have left, if we minus 480, so we take 480 plus 390
we add those together and then subtract it by 1300, and we're gonna get 430 calories. And then again, we multiply it by 4 because there is 4 calories per gram of carb. And we're going to divide that and we get 107.5 grams of carbs. So I cannot stress this enough. If you want to lose weight and you're starting to get into macros, what is the most important is what your macros consist of. It's a food that you're eating and staying in that range of calories, right? So even if you don't hit your specific macros, that's not extremely important into losing weight. What is extremely important is making sure that the breakfast that you're eating, the lunch that you're eating, the dinner that you're eating, and your snacks are not unhealthy processed foods. Because regardless, if you stay at 1300 calories and all you're eating is McDonald's, you're not gonna lose weight. You are not gonna see results, okay? So with that being said, you need to read your labels and your ingredients when you are choosing groceries. So if you see a cool new brand and you're not too sure about it, go read the label and see how many grams of fat it has, how many grams of protein in one serving, right? So when you read the label, it'll say all those numbers that are on the back are gonna show you what they are for that specific serving size, as well as listening to the serving sizes that are on the labels. We don't just wanna be like, oh, willy-nilly, like, that's one serving size, like we don't know. Measuring is also a really good way to really focus in on what your macros are. The next thing that I also want to say about macros, the best way that I've found for tracking your macros and really hitting them every single day is to just be consistent with what you're eating. Like having chicken every day for lunch is a really good way, and turkey for dinner. Just making sure that you're really getting in those proteins that you need, because that's really the bulk of what you're eating. 480 calories there. That's a lot, right? That's going to be most important. And as well as going through to your MyFitnessPal, and what I've done is I've seen throughout the day where I'm at for how many carbs, fats, and proteins that I've had in the morning, and see how many I have left. So then later I'm more conscious about the label and what's on the label and the serving size of what I have left to eat, kind of like a game, let's say, because you don't want to go over your carb, you don't want to go over your fat, and you don't want to go over in your protein. You want to have that specific good little pie chart of differences, right? That's basically macros explained in a very simple short version of how to get your macros. Like I said, these numbers are going to be different for everybody. Your numbers are not going to look like this, but if you do weigh 120, yes, your macros will probably look like that, as well as you'll probably have different muscle mass than me. You'll probably have weight in different areas. You might also not even be active and you weigh 120, and that's fine, but your basal metabolic rate is going to be completely different than mine, right? So just keep that in mind. Not everyone's going to have this cookie cutter way of losing weight and being fit and happy and healthy. You do not want to go less than what your BMR is, because that is going to put you in more of a fat storing mode. When your body doesn't think that it's going to get its next meal and it doesn't know when it's going to get its next meal, it starts to store the fat so that once your body is starving, it uses the fat. It's kind of how like keto works a little bit. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed me explaining macros to you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and go watch some of my other videos if you want to see any tips and tricks on some workouts. I will see you guys next time. Stay happy, stay fit, stay healthy.